Good morning. It's Tuesday, December 15th. And I read reports yesterday and today about the Russian hacking of the Treasury Department. And the upsetting thing was that this could have been going on for months and months and months before we realized that we had been hacked. The hackers broke into the email systems at 2 government departments. But we don't know how much damage was done yet. It's not immediately clear because our officers, our U.S. officials, are scrambling to make an assessment. So there's no definitive answers on how much damage has been done. And we suspect also that not only did the hackers penetrate government departments, probably a few private companies also. So we got the National Security Council and the Department of Homeland Security, both of which have acknowledged the intrusion in a couple of brief statements over the weekend. And we're checking closely to see if any other government networks were affected. And National Security Council spokesman said, "We're taking all necessary steps to identify and remedy any possible issues related to this situation." Well, if it's going on for months and months and months, there's probably a lot of damage done. I don't know what they can do, since there's nothing in these articles that tell us what kind of information was taken. But I suspect that they got some stuff that could be pretty damaging. And, well, I guess it's a wait and see at this point. But it's a terrible situation that we could be hacked. Now, I know a lot about computer systems. And I don't believe that there's anything that's 100% safe. There are always people that are more intelligent than the people who design the system to begin with. And then there are people who make their lives work breaking into systems. They're like big puzzles. Computer systems are like big puzzles. And you know puzzles are challenging to lots of people. So if you've got the time and the mentality to stick with it, you can probably always find a way to get into a system almost unnoticed, And it's too bad that there are many people out there that are willing to do this. But then we have patriots on both sides. Probably the Russian hackers are patriots, and they're in favor of doing things for their country. And I'm sure that we in the U.S. have many patriots too. And we have trained military. We have a cyber force in our military, and probably a cyber force in many of our law enforcement agencies. So this is probably not a one-way street, if you know what I mean. And I guess you have to learn to live with it. And maybe you have to figure out a way to protect your information better. And maybe certain things shouldn't even be out on the internet. Who knows? Who knows what they're doing out there? I certainly don't. So right now, the order has been issued by CISA. That's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. And they've issued a directive that all of the government networks should be carefully looked at overnight, checking on all the civilian agencies to review their computers and make sure that they're safe. And if necessary, they should disconnect them from SolarWinds Orion products immediately. Apparently, that's how the hackers got in. They got in through this SolarWinds product. Now, unfortunately, SolarWinds has lots of government contracts, including military and intelligence services. So it is believed that the attackers slipped in using a supply chain attack, a method that embeds malicious code to legitimate software updates. You see what happens in these computers, and it's probably happened to everybody that has a computer. Flash comes on the screen, do you want to update that? And it looks legitimate, right? You get it from Norton, you get it from McAfee, you get it from Microsoft, you get it from Apple, you get it from everybody. They all want to update. I have several software products that I use for my animations, and I'm always getting updates. And to me, they look legitimate. They look just like the software I'm using. So I say, okay, go and update, or else I tell them to remind me later if I'm in the middle of something. And then these guys go in and they put their little, what should we call it? We put their little malicious code on my system, and it doesn't affect the way my system runs. It just steals information and sends it back to the evil perpetrators. And then you've been hacked. And I've been hacked. I have been hacked, In fact, when I was hacked, they sent an email to all of my friends saying that I was stuck somewhere in the Middle East and that I needed $3,000 to get home. And they gave them a box number and everything to send the money. But nobody sent money because a lot of my friends are smarter than that. And maybe many of them are too cheap to help me out anyhow. But you know what really pissed me off is they got my sister-in-law's email address also, and they sent her to Italy. And me, they sent to the Middle East. But getting back to this hacking business, you have to be very careful about what you say yes to when it opens up. If you're unsure, don't open it. Don't update. Now, SolarWinds, which is based in Austin, Texas, which is where I would expect it to be based because that's where the university is located, the big university. And it put out a statement saying that it was aware that its systems were experiencing a highly sophisticated manual supply chain attack on specific versions of its Orion platform. And the software had been released between March and June of this year. So if they knew how many other parts of their chain, of their users knew, did Orion send out a notice to all the government agencies and all the private companies that they were under attack? I doubt it. Yes, and what they're saying is they're sure that this attack was conducted by an outside nation state, and it was intended to be extremely narrow and extremely targeted. Of course it was narrow and targeted. In certain places they want information. They don't want information from the butcher store, or the grocery store. They want information from probably major corporations and the government. And probably they'd be out there stealing information about the development of the vaccines, That would have been highly prized information. And Microsoft and FireEye said this was a highly sophisticated operation. And of course the Russians denied everything. They said, once again, we reject these accusations, and once again I want to remind you that President Putin is the one who proposed that the Americans and the Russians get together on a cybersecurity pact. So the Russians had nothing to do with this. That's what they claimed. In any event, we've been hacked and we have to be more vigilant. I don't know what else I can tell you. It's vigilance that works. You really have to be vigilant because the hackers are out there and that's what they do for a living. And they're not going to stop just because we say stop. So that's it for today, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.